Hello! Happy Resurrection Weekend! This weekend around the world, Christians have been celebrating Jesus rising to life again. Today, I'm going to introduce you to two books which I enjoyed, which tell the stories of faith and hope resurrected in real people's lives. Firstly, Resurrection Year by Sheridan Voysey. Resurrection Year tells the story of how a husband and wife come to terms with their broken dreams. December 24th, 2010. Rain falls like 1,000 bullets, a barrage of heavy drops pounding the roof, the bonnet, the asphalt. Traffic is slowed to a snail's pace. 6 lanes of snails with little red brake lights banked up end to end. Many of us are on our way to annual vacations and family reunions, to curious little faces eyeing little wrapped mysteries under tinsel-lined trees. In that sense, Merrin and I are going against the tide, heading out of Brisbane, our families behind us, south to Sydney, to our little flat and some sanctuary. It's Christmas, I say to Merrin. Let's try and get a Christmas pudding or something. You know there'll only be a microwave in the motel room, she says, her voice weary, her eyes red. I know. The lights are still on at a large shopping complex on our left. I slip my right hand into Merrin's and pick up a grocery basket with my left. Let's find something nice, I say, trying to lift spirits. And secondly, The Insanity of God by Nick Ripken. In The Insanity of God, the author tells stories of Christians around the world and how they've managed to survive through persecution. First, a confession. My real name is not Nick Ripken. Rest assured, my story and the people who appear in it are very real. Many of these people are, to this day, in real danger. It is their identities that I want to protect. This is my own true account of a long and personal journey. Much of the time, this pilgrimage has felt to me like an endless bumbling, stumbling, wandering, feeling my way in the dark ordeal. When I first encountered God's grace as a young man, I received it eagerly. My trust in God was innocent and childlike. When I heard about God's desire to reach the entire world with His grace, I quickly saw that I had a personal responsibility to fulfill that mission. I'm not sure if I ever heard it said out loud, but I also picked up the idea that obedience to God's call would result in a life of safety and security. The safest place to be, I was told more than once, is right in the center of God's will. I admit, however, my surprise when, many years later, I found myself living a life that was neither safe nor secure. I could point to very little in my ministry which was effective. There were simply no results to measure. I felt that I had lived a life in response to the call of God. Instead of effective ministry, measurable results, and what might pass for success, I felt mostly loss and heartache and failure. What kind of God would allow this to happen? That question drove me to a place very close to despair. I was forced to question much of what I believed, much of what I had been taught. Like Job in the Old Testament, I knew that my Redeemer lived, but I couldn't figure out why he was being so painfully silent. I was desperate for answers, but my questions simply hung in the air. So there you have it, my brief introduction to those two books that I recommend about resurrection. Don't forget that I've got something special planned for the month of May on this channel. And tune in next week for another Storytime with Josh.